So now, Paulie, as the fighters get bigger, you mentioned this, the punches get more and more lethal. That one punch now comes into effect.
Well, you know, when the weight gets heavier, automatically the punches are a lot harder, and you see more knockouts with heavier fighters because of the punching ability. Plus, it doesn't mean that because they're heavier that they can't take great punches like Marciano and a lot of other great fighters. But you usually see a lot of knockouts with the heavier fighters.
Some great light heavyweights, if you can think of some. The only ones I can think, they weren't great, but Len Hutchins, I remember when I was a young kid, was one of my favorite ones, as was George Trevallo.
George Trevallo was a heavyweight, always a heavyweight, but Archie Moore was one of your great light heavyweights, and turned into a heavyweight and fought Marciano, but he was a beefed up heavyweight. But he was one of your greatest heavyweights, light heavyweights of all time. And then before him was Johnston. As a matter of fact, Archie Moore fought Johnston, his father, and his son. Two Johnsons were two great light heavyweights, held the title for like 10 years apiece in the light heavyweight class. And I think their last fight was in the Johnston's last fight was in the early 60s, and he was probably about 35 or 36 years old. That was the son of his father, who fought in the early 50s, his last fight. So the light heavyweights, the great fighters, and even Jake LaMotta, and as a middleweight, great middleweight champ, moved up to the light heavyweight, and there were some other great heavyweights. Light heavyweights, I can't remember all of them, but those are the ones that really stand out as far as the best, who held the crown the longest. And of course, as you know, Emerald Griffith held 3 divisions, welterweight, middleweight, and took the light heavyweight title there for a while, if you can recall that. But he even moved up to it and took it.
The multiple division winners, like the Arguellos, the Leonards, the Hearns, and whatnot, those were in the smaller the lighter weight categories. But to have a light heavyweight, middleweight belt, that's very difficult to achieve.
Hearns did the same thing.
Didn't Mike Spinks try to do that?
Yeah, he did. He couldn't. He took the heavyweight and he lost to Holmes, I think, second time around. But Spinks did it, and Hearns did it 3 crowns. Welterweight, middleweight, and light heavy. I think, and lightweight. I think 4 crowns Hearns holds on that. I'm pretty sure if I check that out.
And I think Arguello had 5. This fight right now, the 178-pound matchup. In the red from Fall Rivers, Samson Leonard. In the yellow from Vermont is Steve Keach. Now, if you look at Leonard, who just took a vicious left hand from Keach, Leonard has an awkward style. Not only is he a southpaw, Paulie, but he's holding his hands down by his hips as if he's a cowboy with his hands over his guns.
Yep, that's, mind you, excuse me, of Joe Walcott, always keeping that left down.
Oh, a solid left hand by Leonard. He just stings Keach, and Keach is in nowhere land.
That's the danger of fighting a left-handed fighter, is that you're a sucker for that right hand. And I was just going to say that and landed. So he was keeping that left down and suck him in for that right hand. And just...
Another left, Paulie.
Yep, he's catching with solid right hand. Watch him, but there it is again.
Man.
There it is again. He's going to have to come back with that left hook, though, to finish him off.
I mean, this, if he doesn't watch it, his head might pop off like a G.I. Joe. Leonard is just going to the moon on Keach. That's the end of round 1, and what a first round it was. Samson Leonard in a big way over Steve Keach in that opening round. Leonard, as you said, you were mentioning that low style, keep the hands by the hips, but he wasn't even looking for that left hand. That left hand came out of nowhere, and it came quickly, and it came furiously.
Well, Walcott had that style. You know, to keep your hand down low like that, you got to be a real good fighter, because that's a danger to it, is getting caught a right hand. But being a good fighter, you can bring that back quick enough and catch a guy with a left hook, which he did, just as we were speaking, and knock down his opponent with that left hook from his waist-side, bringing it right up to the chin. And he's got to be careful of that his opponent don't come back with a quick right hand and with his hands down low like that. But it looks like he's still hurt. Leonardo was not shaking all the cobwebs out of his head yet.
So Leonard in the red and Keach in the yellow, and these are potent left hands thrown by Leonard. Watch him. He's trying to tee off right now. He's got the 3-wood out. Round 2 here in this light heavyweight matchup. The winner will face Richard Ferreira, and that, Polly, will be worth the price of admission. Another combination by Samson Leonard, and Keach is staggered now. A series of right uppercuts thrown by Leonard. Man, Keach is hurt. Another left, a right to the body by Leonard. Leonard now with a left hand straight on, a combination. Keach is dazed. He's on Queer Street. That's good night. Oh, my. Whew. That one was quick. The crowd booing. Of course, they want to see somebody get put in a coma here, I think. But boy, this Leonard was probably one of the most impressive fighters we've seen tonight, Paulie. He's deadly.
Yep, Leonard is a good hard puncher and a good fighter, and you got to give Keach a lot of credit. But you know, he took some awful punches in there, and it's a good thing that the referee Tico stopped that fight. And that's what's good about this amateur boxing. The referees know what they're doing in there. And
absolutely, when your head bends back and hits the small of your back, it's time to stop the fight.
Keach was real hurt there. I was a little nervous the way he was staggering. But you know something sad though, the way the crowd boos it when they stop a fight. You don't know what they really wanted to see out there, and that's a little sad. You know, it's like a racing, watching the Daytona 500, and they see an accident, they all get excited. But when they find out the guy in the car didn't survive the accident, they all seem to weep. But you got to worry about not just seeing a fighter get knocked out, and you got to worry about him being hurt too. You know, but that's the viciousness of the crowd. Sometimes the toughest opponent out there, and the worst, and the most vicious, not the people in the ring, it's the people who are watching it.
I think that holds true in a lot of sporting events. So, for the light heavyweight matchup, it'll be Samson Leonard versus Richard Ferreira tomorrow night, and I tell you, that's worth the price of admission. That's going to be a war.